all the way from Cambridge. She's done a long drive this morning, so we are very, very grateful that she has joined us. MashaAllah. She is the founder of Kaydeena, an inspiring identity coach, and it's a wonderful initiative that she is doing. She's facilitating Islamic education for children with a focus on supporting mothers. We all know what that's like, being a mother myself. Shahana's journey began as a mother herself, seeking ways to enrich her community and providing exciting, meaningful experiences for children, which has led her to create Kaydeena, which offers weekly preschool clubs as well as tailored events and Islamic-based parties. Her goal is to take the stress off parents, giving children beautiful, memorable Islamic experiences that are going to stay with them for years to come. So, Shahana, thank you for being here with us this morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I'm so excited you're here because obviously we've been trying to get you to come on for a while now.
Yeah.
And there's always something going on. So I'm really grateful that you managed to take time out to make your way down. Yeah, alhamdulillah. And lots of du'as for you for doing that journey this morning.
Ameen. It was definitely meant to happen just through perseverance.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Well, listen, we're going to talk about Kaydeena in a little while, but before I start talking about Kaydeena and all the workshops and, the stories that you have to share with me of, memories that you've built with various students or participants. First of all, I'd like you to tell me what inspired you to become an identity coach initially and start this initiative.
Well, the idea of identity is so important. It doesn't just stem from the children that I target or the mothers that I target. It actually starts from the mothers who are raising their children, right? And back in the day, it was a struggle to be Muslim here. And even now, I feel like there's so many people that struggle. And I started my own initiative because I couldn't find anything out there for myself. So I then went out and I started to do things within my home to start. And I had like little parties, little workshop, things for my children. And then I took it out a bit wider to the community because I was trying to bring in a community for my children because I thought I don't want my children to go through. I don't know who I am. I'm not comfortable with who I am. Why don't I fit in? This Barbie doll is white. She's got this kind of body, complexes on so many angles. And even the boys, on so many ways. So it was important for me to make my children feel normal, whatever that word might mean, to different communities, right? So in our community, we are Muslim first and foremost. And that's what the identity I wanted to enrich my children with first and foremost before anything else. So I put on things within my home and then bring it in my community. And then I've done it a few times and some of my community said, Shahana, what are you doing? You're really good at what you do. Take it out. And my community where I lived, there wasn't many Muslim people. So I was really seeking out such a small portion of people to create that environment for my children within the home. So I still had my little one. And I was a full-time mum, and even though I was doing loads of things and networking and creating initiatives within the school, and it was vital for me to be a face in the school, a Muslim face, and really push forward.
To change that narrative.
To change the narrative and say, hello, I'm here. Do you know what I mean? And it was vital for me to be present with my hijab.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you can be Muslim, obviously, without hijab, but if you don't wear one, people don't identify you necessarily. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing.
It's so interesting you say that because, I have no shame in admitting I've not been wearing hijab my whole life. I wore it
Neither did I.
Very late in life. But when I wore it, I realised that I went from being a Muslim to a visible Muslim.
Precisely.
And that makes such a huge impact on the way the dunya perceives you. When I say dunya, I don't mean the Muslims. I mean the non-Muslims. Because suddenly you go from being the brown Asian girl to being the brown Muslim Asian girl. And that's a big deal.
Well, sometimes even when you wear a hijab, people don't know where you're from. It's just like you're the Muslim girl, right?
Well, hijab is on trend now anyway. You've got lots of non-Muslims embracing it. We obviously got World Hijab Day coming up very soon, which is a great opportunity for our sisters who are not wearing hijab to try hijab on. But I completely hear what you're saying, that, we have to be visible, we have to be present, and we have to really stand out as a visible Muslim.
But I think also it's important we take action. We take that action for our future generations.
Yeah,
Right?
but you know, Shahana, you're mashallah very confident. We have a lot of sisters out there who aren't,
Yeah.
who don't have who have the ideas. They sit on them for a long time, but they don't have the confidence to go into school and say, "I want to be part of the PTA," or "I want to be part of this association."
It's so interesting
blah, blah.
you say that. I was there. I've
Yeah.
been doing this for years now. My children are older now, and that's why I'm in a position where I'm like, been there, done that, and now I need to kind of take the message out and let people know you can do this yourself, and you can make that change, and you can create your community, and you can bring in children who are going to become confident Muslims, who are going to say to the teachers, which is what happened within my household a few weeks ago, before the Christmas holiday, because the salat time is shorter, so and closer together. So my daughter had to make a stand and say, I can't do lesson 7 that you're telling me to do if I can't do my prayers. So she needed to do Asr Salah. And honestly, you know, we set a foundation for our children and we leave the rest in Allah's hands.
Alhamdulillah.
But our identity is what we instill, we can instill in our children from such a young age. She wouldn't have done that off her own back. And it's all praise to Allah that that has become her, right?
Yeah, mashallah.
But she, with all the things that I was doing with the children from such a young age, and actually they come and help me with my events, and now that they're older with my preschool, and they love it. They love it. They love prepping for it. They love doing it. They love the impact on the children. They love the feedback from parents. Yeah, it's nice that it resonates.
That's the most beautiful change that you have actually made, mashallah. That you had this initiative, this vision to change the narrative.
Yeah.
And alongside that, you've kind of changed the mindset of the youth.
Yes.
And you know, right now it might be 4, but next year it will be 10. The year after it will be 40. And I've seen it so many times happen where one person can change the narrative for 20 people.
Precisely.
And that is your sadqa jariyah, because it will continue.
I mean,
it will keep going round. I mean, you know, my daughter goes to a very non-Muslim and non-diverse school, so but she has a prayer mat in her bag, and she's only 8 years old. And I think there's about 3 Muslims in her whole year group. But luckily this year they've hired a receptionist who's Muslim. So she went to the reception and said, you know, Miss, we want to start praying this year, so can you pray with us? So that's given the receptionist a cue to actually change the narrative in their school, and it's given these 3 8-year-old girls to the cue to take a hijab and a salat and a prayer mat to school with them.
And do you know what? That brings me on something that is like vital, and something that I was thinking of when my son first started primary school, and I was going to put him into Islamic school. And it's great, right? I think the Islamic schools are great, but my thing is, if we take all the Muslims out of primary school, state school, and put them into Islamic school, where's our representation?
Absolutely.
So my child, when
100%.
he was in year 6, I remember going into the teacher, and I said to the head, and I said, Ramadan's coming, my son wants to pray, would like to pray. And she said, would like to fast, sorry. And then she said, well, I don't encourage it. And I said, whether encouraging or not, I am going to support my son when he's fasting. And then with the prayers, I said, what about prayers? She was shocked with that. And subhanAllah, that evening, on the first fast, I had a call from the office. I had to go in and speak to them because my son, alhamdulillah, I never expected this. She said, okay, you've told us about the prayers. There's certain things which I wrote them a blurb about what they need to do, what they need to prepare for, wudu, and he led the salah. He led salah, and he was walking around scouting out the children. You fasting, and bringing them in. And
mashallah,
this is part of the identity I wasn't expecting. It's not dictatorial. It is instilling values, right?
And it's your child is mimicking you. You know, and he's replicating the actions that you are doing. So when he is seeing you making the difference, you changing the narrative, he's going and doing it at school as well.
Yes,
you know, similarly, even with my son, I think during Ramadan, he gets his non-Muslim friends to fast with him. Because he's like, listen, I'm going to be hungry, so we're mates. And because they're buddies, they're best buddies, they do everything together.
It's a brilliant double time, isn't it, for us kids?
And they're like, all right, we'll fast with you. And they thoroughly enjoy coming to my house for iftar and eating all the fried food, because they're like, well, we're part-time Muslims at the moment. We're fasted with him. Okay, fine, just come over. But, you know, it comes from embracing. And we can't just, and it's such an important point that you mentioned, that we can't just take us away from them. We have to submerge ourselves in them and encourage them to join us, rather than create our own box and say, okay, this is our box. we're going to remain in our box, whether you like it or not. We're not going to budge. And this is where the disagreements come from. Now, talk to me about your services, your initiatives. What are they offering, especially the preschoolers and the tailored events? What can I expect?
Okay, so the preschoolers club is, to the children, it's not learning, it's play, and that's exactly what the idea is. Every single child, my service starts for children without the parents at 3 years old.
Nice.
Every single child that comes in thinking they're playing, and that's exactly how, if you're going to teach Islam on a formal level, in other words, not the parents doing it, then it should be play, right? And obviously we know in the Quran it says that we should, between 1, 0 and 7, you are playing with your child, and that's exactly how they should come in. So what does that mean for the child? That means they're leaving that service with love, and do you know what? They come back with love, and loads of parents have told me they don't want to go to school. They're like, are we going to go? They called it a couple of names, actually. They call it Arabic school, they call it Islamic school, they call it all kinds of things. Some of them don't really call it Kaydeena, but it's fine. But they love it, and that's so important, because that's the vibe that I want the children to have. That's the emotion I want them to have, and that's the emotion I want them to return to as they get older. Do they have a memory at 3? I mean, I did. And then, you know, it's not just 3. After that, there's preschool club that I do every Saturday. And it runs, like I said, 3 to 4 year olds. They come in, we have circle time, we play games to learn Arabic language, reinforcing. You know, we sing nursery rhymes, which are tailor-made, which are bespoke, which I make up myself, alhamdulillah. And we do some activities to bring the learning together, like craft activities, through storytelling and through the alphabet. And we do Surah Al-Fatiha, and I do it like the Lord's Prayer. So we do Surah Al-Fatiha, then we do it in English. If you can learn the Lord's Prayer
in Arabic and English,
it's amazing, because when you get older, you're like, okay, this is what I did. Read so many times a day during Salah. I know it. I know the meaning of it. I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm standing in prayer with that main, you know, the opening.
The impact of the Salah and the impact of the Surah that they're reading. Subhanallah. Right, okay, look. It's a very saturated market. Although it's a new initiative, it's something that's only just come about recently. It's particularly post-COVID, where we've realised that actually the impact of homeschooling and smaller, intimate classrooms is better. It's become very saturated very quickly, right? What is it that differentiates or sets you aside or apart?
I think you can see it, Tahreem. My passion, honestly, I love what I do. And I think that's the most important thing, right? A lot of people are homeschooled, like you said, after COVID, for many different reasons, and I'm sure there are people out there that are doing it with passion as well. But there are other reasons as well. The schooling system, you know, you can get so much more out of just sit down learning. Right? And there's so much out there, policies that are affecting our children's learning, affecting the parental input. People are putting their children out, right? And for me, what I do is the passion of teaching every one of those children. I treat them. My children would have said when they were younger, that I'm very teacherish, and I was with my children. But when I'm running my preschoolers club, I'm more motherish. So it's like the other way round. But I love what I do, and I love the delivery. I love working behind the scenes on it and getting excited about the concept and what they come out with as well, and their responses, the parents' responses, and, you know, obviously the return children.
You know, it all sounds really brilliant. But other than the learning, I really like the concept of the Islamic-based parties and the other experiences that you're providing.
So I've done those before. I've done like a story trail with Isra and Miraj, which was a lot of fun. The children had to come in PJs.
Nice.
I gave them hot chocolate with marshmallows. I was dressed as a storytelling owl. Didn't mind making a fool of myself, which is absolutely fine when you submit to the children. Absolutely. I've done Make Me a Hajji event where they come in and they do like a whole day of Hajj compressed within the hour.
I love that.
I've done Ramadan parties because children don't fast, so they have a concept of what the whole thing is about in that
How important do you think this is? Because obviously not a lot of people do it. So what is the importance and the impact of it?
The impact is huge. Because they're going to remember, right? They will remember in 1 hour far more than they will remember the years of not doing it, not engaging because they didn't understand. And why will they remember? Because it's play and we are relating to their language, right? And That's
and you're
why it's
embedding
vital.
it in their heads with memories.
Yes.
So, because even if we reflect back on our childhood, we've got loads of memories, but nothing of those sort. And I think if they'd been there, we'd be different people in terms of our tawakkul even.
Yes.
And our faith and our understanding of our faith.
Yeah. And I think what's important to know as well, one of the other reasons I started the events and my concept of Kaydeena through Islamic educational learning facilitating was because I used to see things around us in the world that we live in, right, in the country we live in. Christmas, you learn it for a little while. You learn about Father Christmas for a little while. Tooth Fairy, you learn about it for a little while. Oh, well, we don't believe in that anymore. Father Christmas, don't believe in that anymore. Hold on a minute. Islam is, everything is real. Exactly. Why are we not bringing it to life? Yeah. It's real. So we can teach it to our children from childhood, you know, up until forever, because everything is real. And let's turn it into something that is, you know, tangible for our children's learning.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't agree with the holidays that the children have in half terms and etc. being called specific holidays anyway. So like Christmas holidays, why don't we just call it winter break? Easter holidays, why don't we just call it spring break, or, you know, whatever break it is, or autumn break, summer break, spring break. Like in America, they don't call Christmas holidays, they call it winter break, because they don't want to associate a faith-based holiday around it. Obviously, it's a public holiday. It is Christmas time for the Christians. They do go all out, but they don't call it that in a school because they're conscious of the fact there's lots of faiths in that school studying, and it's not always a Christmas holiday for everyone. It's just winter break for everyone.
Yeah.
So I really like that notion in the US, actually. One of few things that I like about the US. So, with regards to your Kaydeena and the amazing and incredible work you're doing, obviously you've had some fantastic feedback from the parents. Is there any story that stands out for you and really like plucks your heartstrings?
Oh, do you know what? It's not any particular story. It's every single time the children come back and they say, you know, they want to come back. They don't know. One of the children recently was like, I don't want to go home. I want to go with Ustada. And it's just so lovely. But you know what? The other thing is when I see their faces, the engagement on their faces, and they come alive.
Yeah.
They come alive to something that's true.
Yeah.
Through the story or the delivery that I'm giving. And that's vital, right?
Yeah.
That's vital.
Yeah. I mean, you're telling them about life.
Yes. You're
teaching them about the Quran, the faith that is supposed to be our guide in life. You know, it's that book. Whereas, like you mentioned a minute ago, the other stuff that they're learning in school, building up to various holidays, it's all there's no facts to it. It's all fake theories.
Yeah.
And it's just make believe that they make these children believe in. Yeah. And as soon as they turn 9 or 10 years old, they realize, oh, there's no tooth fairy, or Santa Claus is not real, and all of that.
Yeah.
Why did we do that? Why did we like embed their brains with these theories and
it's conforming, isn't it? And that's the thing. And we don't need to conform because we've got a lot of richness within our own faith, alhamdulillah. So it's about time. I think we as a whole community were more confident in that, you know, and delivered that confidence to our children of non-conformity and reaching a balance as well.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Now listen, nothing is easy, right? And our viewers, many of those sisters that are watching us, maybe even the brothers, they might be sitting on an idea, but they're just too, they find it difficult to kind of implement or actually go and reach out and say, okay, I've got this idea, I'm going to do it. Because there's a fear factor. We always feel like we're going to fail or we're not going to be able to do it. We might let people down. And there's always a risk. So on that note, Shahana, tell me about the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
My worst thing is marketing.
Yeah?
I absolutely hate marketing. I know I'm talking to you now, but I feel like I'm talking to you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not great at going out and say, hey, this is the way of the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So that was
I have to conform.
Yeah, you have to conform to the marketing.
I have to say, don't conform.
World.
So that is one of my greatest challenges. And right at the beginning, when I started, I started with the mother and child group because I was looking for things on my own journey to learn more about Islam, engage more with Islam. I struggled to walk into the door of masjids, etc., because I didn't feel like I fitted in. and people were already within their groups. A lot of them
Yeah, they have
had
the kick.
prior knowledge,
Yeah.
prior great Islamic upbringing, and I just didn't feel like I fitted in. I wasn't wearing the right attire. I wasn't talking the same, using the same Islamic language, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that was like a kick in the teeth, because I wanted to fit in, because I wanted to be part of a community. So I think the biggest thing was creating my own community.
Yeah, that's
and then with that, being confident with who I was, going off and doing my learning, going off and doing my classes, etc. And then meeting those challenges, and then raising my children the way I saw them moving up to, come on, we need to move with this day and age as Muslims. You know, and I'd have people saying to me, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's got, you know, and it would break my heart. I'm like, okay, I'm going 10 steps forward because I've actually done this now. I've started it.
Yeah.
But then, you know, 100 steps back. It was...
Just a back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
But
But the greatest thing, I would say one of the greatest things was people within even the non-Muslim community started to get to know me, and they would reach out to me. And that is really good, because what my work is not just for the community, Muslim community alone, it's for the non-Muslim community. So like within Waltham Forest, when I was there, I was delivering things in museums and at
Libraries.
like the libraries, etc. And they would come back to me.
Mashallah.
And I'd say, in my head, I was like, okay, lantern for Diwali, a lantern for Eid, a lantern for Chinese New Year. I'm a Muslim. I've got so many great ideas. I should go out there and push forward, and that's what I did. And
Alhamdulillah. Well, listen, it sounds like you're doing incredible work, and it sounds like you're making a huge difference. MashaAllah. We are coming towards the end of the segment, but if we want to reach out to you, want to follow your work and be inspired by you, how can we do that?
well, I can be hired for events separately, or if anyone wants to join the preschoolers club, they can find me on Kaydeena Islamic on Instagram. I'm also on YouTube with some Ramadan crafts on Kaydeena Islamic, I believe. Yeah, and they can DM me.
Alhamdulillah. Inshallah. Well, here we have it. A wonderful sister, Shahana Khanom, who has set up an initiative and is working very hard to make that difference, to change that narrative. Something that we are all aspiring to do, but many of us are not doing as well as we'd like to be. Well, here you are. Here's another inspirational woman for you to follow and for you to learn from. And inshallah, if you are there sitting on an idea, my dear sister, get up and do something about it, because you can make a difference and have that impact on changing the narrative, not just for yourself and for other sisters alike, but also for the coming generation and the future of the Ummah tomorrow, inshallah. Now, don't go anywhere. I hope you enjoyed today's show, but we are actually do go somewhere, because the show's coming to an end. For a moment, I felt like we were going to come back, but we're not coming back. We are going now. So I'm going to say goodbye to you. We'll be back tomorrow. It's a Thursday at 10 a.m. Remember, Islam channel is available 24/7 across all platforms, including social media. So you can join in on the conversation using the hashtag Salam Britain. And you can always catch up on the latest trending stories or your favorite shows on Islam channel's website and mobile phone apps. And if you've got something to say, you've been inspired by any of our guests today, or you would like to share a story about you, then email us at sb@islamchannel.tv. I would love to hear from you. Would love to read about what you're up to and your opinions. But until next time, may Allah bring you peace and endless blessings in the day ahead. Have a great day. Have a great tomorrow. You've been watching Tahreem on Salam Britain, and I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.